The Ramones, Blondie, Tucking Heads, Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, LIE, GWB, FTR, and the BQE. Bus stops, taxi drivers, walk-ups and high-rises, Liquor Street and Ellie, and the Staten Island Ferry, Rikers Island, Wall Street, MoMA, Lady Liberty, Park Slope, Brooklyn Heights, Williamsburg, and Bed-Stuy. Watch out.
Good evening, everyone. Please don't change that channel. This is the Vinny Vella show. Unfortunately, Vinny's not here with us tonight. I'm Mariana, as you know, his co-host. Vinny has been dealing with a lot lately. He not only had to deal with a death in the family, but he's also going through some health issues, nothing to be too concerned about, but deservingly so, he decided to take a break tonight. And he will be taking a break, a leave of absence as well next week. So I'm here. And I'm very happy to be here, and I know, Vinny, you're watching right now, and on behalf of all our guests and on behalf of myself, we wish you the best. Stay positive, stay optimistic, and you'll be back sooner than you think. Now, Vinny usually starts off the show talking about some current events. Unfortunately, this show usually airs 2 weeks later after we actually tape the show, since it's live to tape. But I wanted to send out my thoughts and prayers to those victims who suffered a devastating tragedy today in East Harlem. Unfortunately, today there was a massive explosion due to a gas leak, and there were 2 fatalities, about 62 people who have been injured, and about 10 people who are currently missing. So again, my thoughts and prayers are really, I'm sending out my thoughts and prayers to family members and to everybody who has suffered from this tragedy. But on a lighter note, we have a lovely, lovely guest tonight. She not only is a singer, songwriter, producer, but she has incorporated her extensive healing and energy body work into her music. Please, everybody, let's welcome Elena Jordano.
Under the sandbox 20 years ago, I'm still buried there, and this dumpster's cold. Under walls, the walls of fear, I just wanna show, I wanna come clean to reveal the underneath. It's so heavy pouring through my head. I'm carving my way out, playing 2 steps ahead, raising flags, igniting fire. I just wanna show, I wanna come clean to reveal the underneath. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself. Down deeper, there's no one else. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself this time. Don't hide all your needs inside. In the pages of my school books, pages of my doubt, left somewhere in the lines, in the spaces looking out, just peering around, afraid what was lost would never be found. Somebody please help me, this is not my reality. Somebody please save me, this is not me. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself. Down deeper, there's no one else. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself this time. Don't hide all your needs inside. All I once tried so hard to confine, now I'm breaking the locks. I don't fit in this box, no. this view of conformity. Oh, and outdated rules. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself. Down deeper, there's no one else. I'm digging deeper for pieces of myself. This time, don't hide all your needs inside. This time, don't hide all your needs inside.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I'm sure Vinny would have loved to hear you sing, but
I know.
he'll
Maybe
see it
next
on
time.
tape.
Next time.
Yes, absolutely. So this was the song from your first full-length album, Digging
Yes,
Deeper.
That's the title track.
Yeah. And where did the inspiration stem from?
Oh, wow. Good question. I think that just from life experiences of being, growing up and having a dream or an aspiration, and sort of, such as life, getting sort of sidetracked along the way.
Right.
And then at some point, you're kind of at a crossroads and you have to make a decision, and it's about that moment. And I think that the song changes as I change.
Interesting.
Which is nice as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And how is the creative process like to write this song? How long did it take you to write the song?
It didn't take me that long.
Okay.
Maybe like a few weeks or like a month or
Oh,
something.
really?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Some songs come in an hour, and it's
Okay.
like, boom, you're like, wow, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Yeah.
Other ones are a little bit more difficult, and this was one of those. Because the ideas were all there, but it was just a
Putting
little
it all
bit-
together.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it kind of sending out a universal message, because
Yes.
that's all about. You're incorporating your real experiences, but kind of making a universal message for people to kind of grasp where you're
Yeah.
coming from.
Absolutely. Like, it always starts with something pretty personal, but I find that as personal as it is, or that it seems,
Yeah.
it has a common thread in that we all go through such similar experiences.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that's how people usually gravitate to music that they like, because they find something that is true to them, and then they kind of just, believe in that person when they're singing.
Absolutely. They're like, yeah, this chick's like me. I
Yeah.
know that girl. Like,
Yeah.
I know that story. So,
Yeah.
it's great.
And you have 10 songs on this album, which you all wrote just on this album.
17, actually.
Oh, 17.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And all of them you wrote?
I co-wrote 2 of them.
Okay.
And I wrote the other
rest of
15.
them.
Yeah.
Wow. And you worked with Lior Magao, the producer?
Lior
on
Magao
this?
is my producer, and he was wonderful. It's interesting, though, because the album actually started as a 20-minute one-woman show.
Oh,
I actually scored what I call the B-sides, like the second half of the album,
Okay.
as a show. And from that, I was like, am I going to make 2 records, or am I just going to put them all on the same record
Okay.
with this more of a show? Think of a cross between a music concert and a Broadway performance or something, like some kind of meshing
through line,
of
yes.
those things. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with my story, and I'm going to put it all on one record. And in this day and age, with the way that the music industry is, there kind
Yeah.
of aren't any rules anymore.
that's true, which is
So-
great for you, because you can
Yeah.
really just be as innovative as you want, in a
Exactly.
sense.
So I was like, I'm just going to let my artistry rip, and that's sort of what happened.
Wow. And that's why you say this was kind of a blind journey through time, in a way?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I even when I was in the studio, a couple of the tracks I actually wrote on the spot, like in the studio.
Wow.
I just was able, like, Lior was amazing and like held a really beautiful place for me, and it was almost like a time warp when I would go in there,
Yeah.
and we just had a couple of sessions where, you after 5 hours or 6 hours, you come out of the studio and you're like, whoa,
do we just really do all of that work in that
That's
amount of time?
amazing.
So yeah, it was really, there are definitely some magical moments.
And how did you meet him? How did this collaboration come to be?
How did I meet Lior? I think that,
Because he's worked with, I mean, when I was reading your bio, he's worked with Pink, with Idina Menzel. I mean, he's worked with great artists. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a privilege that you got to work with him.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that I actually answered an ad or something, or I saw his ad somewhere,
What?
and I met him for coffee, and I was like, that's the one. I was like,
That is
I just hit it off with
insane.
him, and like I knew that, you know, when you just know sometimes.
Of course, that it's going to click. And I think that's why the magic happened
it
then.
was like that. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Are you thinking of maybe pursuing another album or working with him again?
I am. I have, you know, I always have so much music, and I have music from before I put that album together that didn't quite make the album because I felt like it didn't fit.
Right.
And then I have stuff that I wrote that I've been writing recently, and so, you know, time is a funny thing. Like I find that sometimes I actually go back to before and I pull a melody and start working on something new that's
Interesting.
old.
Yeah.
And so yes, there's a lot of music out there for me to sort of organize and wrap and determine what my next project is going to be. So
And you also write mantra songs, right?
yeah, I do some mantra work because I practice a lot of yoga and teach as well, and that's been a huge influence for me. So yeah, that's a natural exploration as well.
And that's something like you can kind of add it to massage therapy and also meditation. That's something that can coincide if you're doing that type of work as well, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've thought about making my own soundtracks, if you will, for classes and whatnot.
interesting. And where
So-
do you teach?
I teach out of my home,
Oh, you
my home
do?
studio.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a small home studio.
Oh, that's amazing.
And also a neighborhood studio in Brooklyn.
And how long did that take for you to get certified as a yogi instructor?
Well, in 2006, I got my first yoga certification in 30 days.
Wow.
It was super, super
Does that
intense.
normally happen that way?
No. I mean, you can sign up. I just knew for me that was the only way that I was going to be able to get through it and actually stick to it because it
Right.
was so hard for me.
Wow.
But I've
Amazing.
gotten more, you know, done more training since, and I have a master's actually in experiential health, integrative health and healing.
In healing.
So, but yeah, so it's just been sort of one step after the next. And
you-
I wasn't ready to teach right away.
Okay.
So that took me a few years too.
Well, of course, because you kind of have to get this technique into your body and be in tune with that and then be able to express it to others. So I'm sure that it takes a time to develop
Absolutely.
that technique, yeah.
Yep.
And all of this started for you because you were an athlete when you were in college, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of sparked your interest into moving into something that was still more physical while pursuing your music?
It was like I didn't have a choice.
Huh.
I got really injured when I was diving.
I see.
And,
You were an All-American diver in
I
college.
was, in high school and college, and I was injured and I wasn't able to continue after college even though I wanted to.
Wow.
And I tried physical therapy, I tried a lot of different things, and nothing was like regular enough for me. And also I really wanted the knowledge. I'm like, why is that, you know, I wanted to be my own doctor, you know, and I really found that yoga was the only thing that I could do myself on a daily basis that
Right.
worked.
Right.
And so,
Do you
yeah.
feel that you have, because of yoga, more mobility and do you just feel stronger now than you did before?
Definitely. I think that my flexibility and my strength and just like my body awareness
Yeah.
now compared to 10 years ago
It's
is
totally different.
totally different. And it opened up like the channel for my creativity. I actually don't think I would have been able to get the words out, like write my songs and sing and express myself in such a way if I hadn't gone through the yoga.
Yeah.
As funny as that sounds, there's really something to it.
No, and I
So-
completely understand because we were talking before that I'm also a professional dancer and I also dealt with injuries, and I feel that
Yeah.
if I hadn't dealt with those injuries, I wouldn't be where I am today, both physically and mentally, because I
Yeah.
feel that those injuries do teach you. They're lessons in life, and they kind of guide you to be open and vulnerable in places where you need to be for your artistic, you know,
Right. And
life.
as hard as it is,
Yeah,
you're
as
like,
hard as it is, I know. Because it is so difficult because
Yeah.
it's your life and then you're kind of hit with this thing and now you just have to go on and figure your way out in a sense.
Yep. Yes.
That's so inspiring.
Definitely. Thanks.
And maybe that's why it's so easy for you, or things come so quickly because you are so open. And then these ideas for your songs just kind of bloom, in a sense.
Yeah, it's true. Like I always joke, it's like too much.
Yeah.
You know, I just get inundated with, I just have tons of material sitting around, and it kind of makes me crazy. But then I realize that.
Well, it's great to have so much
but
material.
we're only human. Like we can only do
Yeah.
so much, and just having faith that we pick the best things and follow,
Right.
our
follow through.
our path and what we're supposed to create, and
Yeah.
that's all it is.
And how did
to
this
it.
all start for you? You started playing violin at the age of 3.
I did.
Was that your idea or your parents' idea who are here in the audience?
It was my parents' idea. I had
You just saw the genius in her, didn't you?
I had a cousin who played violin,
Okay.
and so naturally I played violin.
Okay.
And it was one of those. I was one of the youngest. I come from a big Italian family. So,
I see.
and I was kind of angry at my parents actually because I really wanted to play guitar.
Okay. Interesting.
But I'm so grateful that I had the violin
had
training
it.
because
Yeah.
the ear training is something that I always fall back on. Like my ear training was so fundamental to my growth as a musician.
Yeah.
And I think just as a person, actually.
course.
So I'm actually really grateful that was the way that that
Yeah.
it happened for me.
You're more aware. Your sensibility is more in tune, I guess.
Yep.
And then you started singing at what, around the age of 5?
Yeah.
And was it something that you, as soon as you started the violin, you were like, I'm ready to go. I want to continue pursuing this music thing, and let's start with singing classes.
Well, I think it was my kindergarten music teacher that gave me a solo, and no one knew
Oh.
that I could sing. I knew I could sing,
Yeah.
but no one knew. I knew from a very young age, actually, but no one else knew. And I had this solo, and all of a
Interesting.
sudden, they're like, oh, wow, this little girl has
They're
this voice.
very
you know?
talented, yeah.
So that's sort of how that began.
Wow, and since then you knew that this was going to be your passion for the rest of your life.
Well, then what happened actually was I started playing my violin music on the piano, but I never studied piano. But I just had the
Wow.
music in my ear, and I would
Yeah.
just sit at the piano. I'd be like, "Oh, this is how my violin song goes on the piano," And so so then it was pretty obvious at that point that music was a gift.
And when did the guitar come into play?
I was in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in college, and I had a really rough freshman year, and I think that that's what saved me. I learned to play guitar, and from then I kind of picked it up, put it down,
Yeah.
because I was really involved in sports, and it really
Yeah.
wasn't until after college that I really started playing.
If you don't mind me asking, how long ago was that? Because I personally don't know. I don't play the guitar, but what you're playing is incredible. So,
Thanks.
how long ago was that?
10 years ago, 9 years
Okay.
ago, yeah.
Oh, so we're pretty much the same age then. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
And in only 9 years, you were able to pick up the guitar and do it so well. So you really have music in your soul. It's not something that you just.
Yeah, definitely. And I hear way more than I can play, which frustrates me because
Yeah.
I hear so much, but but I guess that's a gift too because
Absolutely.
just the sensibility of how things fit together, is just something nice to have.
And when you're creating your music or the melody, do you usually rely on one specific instrument versus another, or how does that
It
work
could
for
come
you?
anyway. I could be walking down the street, coming out of the subway,
Yeah.
and I'll hear a melody, and I'll go to my phone and I'll just boom, put
Okay.
it down. Or I could be just strumming chords or playing guitar. A lot of times my music comes from movement.
Really?
Most of my album actually came through dance or
Okay.
yoga when I was just exploring on my own at home. And I think that
That is
there's
remarkable.
the music is it's literally in the cells. And I know that sounds so foofy.
No,
and
it doesn't at
but,
all.
But really and truly, once it begins to open the body, I the melodies occur.
It's there, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So.
And does the melody come first or the words? The melody.
depends.
It depends.
Yeah, it's always different. So I wish I had more of a formula, but I don't. Right now.
But
Right
you're
now,
so
anyway.
creative. You're so creative that I guess it doesn't really matter. Just whatever works. And so what's next for you? What are you thinking? I know that you hopefully have plans later on to do another album, but are you thinking of possibly doing more performances? Are you doing any performances soon?
I have been performing. I think a big lesson for me has been through these years is to be where I'm at. And right now, what I have is my body, my voice, and my guitar. So the ability to just go and play my songs is what I'm doing now. Do I have like aspirations to have like dancers and lights and like a hoopla? Absolutely.
Right. Of course.
Absolutely.
Why not?
And a team of people to work with and you know, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you know, building one step at a time and sticking with the foundation, which
It's
I have
essential.
to, and I have to keep reminding myself, back to and then we can start, you know, building the pieces. So.
And I think that's really great to think in that way, because a lot of artists today, because they do have the team, or they have all these outside factors coming in, that sometimes they do forget about the foundation, or where the technique came from, or where that whole creative process is.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great insight for you to actually come from the bottom up and just keep on rising.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow, you're awesome. No, it's really great speaking to you, because it's great to find someone that's so creative and actually looks back at what they've been through in life and just follows through with their dream no matter what.
Thanks. Yeah. It's sometimes it's really not easy.
No, of course it isn't.
You know, and it's like, but yeah, absolutely. If I can find any way to get those experiences, as difficult as they are, and channel them into my music, into, you know, my artistry in some way, it's a win. So, yeah.
And really quickly, because we only have about 5 minutes left,
Okay.
you also do aerial work, which I find so intriguing.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I do. It's natural for me because of the
You're
diving.
so athletic. Oh, right, with the diving.
It's very similar. So.
And you don't ever fear, because of what happened in the past with your neck injury, that would be an issue with?
Because the biggest obstacles in diving are the water, which is actually very hard when you're spinning from high heights, and the board.
Okay.
And in trapeze, there isn't either.
And do you do that in Brooklyn? Because I know that there's a couple of places. I forgot the name of the artist who has this huge studio where she has a lot of aerialists. I forgot her name. But.
I go to Trapeze Loft sometimes.
Okay.
And I also have a rig in my apartment.
Oh, you do?
I do.
So you have a huge apartment then to do that.
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty
good size.
interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Elena, you are really a remarkable person and very talented and very lovely. So I'm really glad you were here tonight. And if you don't mind, one more song from your album.
Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody, again, Elena Jordano.
I can't figure this out, and I'm not trying to. Maybe you'll surprise me. Tap me on the shoulder and say, you're the one, the one, the one I knew all along. We were just mouthing the words, pretending we could be heard.
can't figure this out, and I'm not trying to. Maybe you'll surprise me, tap me on the shoulder and say, you're the one